looks like we are hey, look at this, day two, and I figured it out again. So far so good. Wondering what I'm doing. I'm trying to look at all the little stuff over here on OBS. Anyway, welcome back to Disturbingly Interesting. My name is Megan, and this is the Disturbingly Interesting lunch hour, I'm going to call it for now. And we're going to talk about the Bennington Triangle, specifically the 5 people who went missing under very mysterious circumstances, and all within a 5-year time span. So, while I was doing some research yesterday, I did come across 2 disturbingly interesting things in the news that I wanted to talk about first, which I know is kind of loaded because everything in the news is disturbing. But the first one is just, it's sad. Chuck Norris died. He died on March 19th. He was 86 years old. I was thought it was a joke or one of those AI headlines or not, but no, it is true. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Chuck Norris, has passed away. But I think we can all take some comfort in knowing that death did not come for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris came for death. But the other thing that I found, which I thought was very interesting, is it's actually a very recent active missing person case. And I really wanted to talk about it. I thought it was very interesting, but I do want to kind of caveat this before we start. Obviously, I'm not any kind of reporter or anything like that. And this is an active missing person case that is happening. So it is with William McCasland. So William McCasland, he's a 68-year-old retired Air Force general, and he's a very experienced hiker and outdoorsman. That's important. So he went for a walk near his home in Albuquerque, New Mexico on the morning of February 27th, kind of late morning on February 27th, and he has not been seen since. So his wife reported him missing when she got home early that afternoon, and he wasn't there. He had left behind his phone, his prescription glasses, and any wearable devices he might have had. So I would assume that's like a watch. And the other really just crazy thing about it is that they were saying that there are cameras on both ends of this man's street. And along with those cameras are all of the Ring doorbells and all the doorbell cameras. They have been searching through that footage as best they can, and they still have not found anything on there. They also searched a very large area around his home and in the desert. They searched with dogs and drones and helicopters. They used thermal imaging, heat, with the drones, and they said that it's so unusually hot in that area that they can't tell what the signatures are. They can't distinguish one from the other because everything is hot. So they have yet to be able to find anything on this guy. They did say that he himself at one point reported that he was having some kind of a mental fog, but police did say that there is no indication that he was disoriented or confused at all at the time he went missing. So here's where it gets interesting. So remember when I said he was an Air Force general? So take a guess which Air Force base he commanded before he retired. I'm going to give you a second. It's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So if anybody doesn't know, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is the spot where all of the UFO and alien activity, the research, the kept debris from Roswell, all of that stuff, allegedly. So that's pretty interesting. And then a week or so before McCasland went missing is when the president had posted that he was going to direct the Pentagon and other federal agencies to release government records related to extraterrestrial life and UFOs. So very strange coincidence. But that's not all. So that was the part where it got interesting. Here's the part where it gets disturbing. So 9 months ago, a woman named Monica Riza She vanished while on a hike near Los Angeles. She was hiking with somebody. She was hiking with a partner, and her hiking partner said they were about 30 feet in front of her, and she was laughing and smiling and waving. But when they turned around at one point, she was just gone. She had just disappeared. There was a massive search for her. The search and rescue spent days trying to locate Monica, but have yet to find anything. And Monica, she was an aerospace engineer, and she developed some kind of special material. I think it was a metal that is used on rockets. So her work was funded by the government, and it was overseen by William McCasland, the retired general who just went missing. Pretty strange, pretty disturbingly interesting. Again, this is an active missing person case, and I want to be respectful. Of course, that is all just speculation. They are saying that this has nothing to do with his work, and it really is just a coincidence that the both of them went missing within 9 months of each other. So I read that. I thought that was interesting. I thought of you guys. So I wanted to share that before we get in to, oh yeah, and there's an update. I did read an update today. The FBI is now involved in the search for William McCasland and overseeing his case. So definitely disturbingly interesting news. And before we get into our main topic, I did want to take a moment and go over some of the comments from my first stream yesterday. And these comments are from the Midnight Club members. And again, I appreciate you guys so much. But Vicky had said, I didn't know you were going to go live. If you told us, I missed it. There was a couple people that had several variations of this comment. And Vicky, you didn't miss it. I didn't tell anybody I was going live. I don't know. I randomly kind of thought this would be a good idea. Obviously not disturbingly interesting. We've talked about disturbingly interesting before, but like putting it on its own channel and going live, that was just kind of something that I had been toying with for a while and wanted to try it out. So the minute I got done doing the recording yesterday, I didn't even rewatch it. I hadn't even rewatched it yet before I was like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with the Midnight Club because I didn't tell you guys I was doing it. So you didn't miss it. That was me. That was my bad. I didn't tell you. This next comment is from Kelly. Kelly says, hey, Megan. I wanted to tell you something that I was taught by my vocal coach. I am a singer, so I get on stage. So getting on stage is very scary at first. My teacher told me that using that nervous energy when I sing will make it better. So if you close your eyes, take a deep breath, blow it out, counting to 10, and then go for it. Eventually, it will get easier as you go. Love the stories, and I'm excited to watch the lives. Kelly, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I definitely was a lot more nervous yesterday than I was today because, the anticipations that, never done it before, and I gotta, make sure everything's perfect because I'm a perfectionist. But I did have a lot of fun yesterday, and I do really appreciate that tip. It was very nice. Kind of helped ground a little bit. The next comment is from Kathy. Kathy says, your story was creepy. I do wish the person that the Black-Eyed Kid story was about would have said whether or not they were back at the Walmart and if the time lapse, and if there was a time lapse as when they were originally there. That's my bad. In hindsight, probably should have vetted those stories a little bit better. They were good stories, and I'm glad we read through them. I did not look at them first because I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to do, read stories that I hadn't read yet. But again, in hindsight, since I'm not really a reaction person, when we do that again, because I did really like doing that. So when I do read stuff like that again in the future, I will vet those a little bit better. Kathy, you also called me out with a comment that said, you already talk over on Facebook. It's no different. You worry too much. You are correct. You are correct. You know me too well. That is my toxic trait, is I'm a worrier. I will worry about everything. And if I'm not worrying about something, I will worry about not being worried about something. It is, It is what it is. I'm getting old, and I don't know that I can change it or that I will change it at this point. But we will see. But I appreciate it. I chuckled when I read that, so thank you very much. And I do want to give a big shout out to all the members of the Midnight Club, and thank you guys so much. You really are the best. And I think I remember always, like, you hear content creators all the time talk about how, like, they have the best followers in the world, and everybody's so amazing. And it always kind of sounded really cheesy to me. You know, it's like, oh God, I bet you say that to everyone. But I get it now. I do get it now. You guys really are amazing, and you're so supportive, and I can't thank you enough. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, the Midnight Club members. And everybody else too, but for my Midnight Club members. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the episode today, which is the Bennington Triangle. If you have not heard of the Bennington Triangle, I'm sorry for you, because it's actually really good. I am not going to do very in-depth on this, because that's not what these like little practice shows are about. It's more so just me kind of figuring out how I want to do my notes, how I want to tell these stories, and that type of stuff. So I am going to do a very high-level overview of this. But if you like it and you want an in-depth one on it later, I will be more than happy to do it, because it is really probably one of my favorite mysteries. I know I say that a lot, but obviously the ones I tell you guys are going to be my favorite ones. But so the Bennington Triangle, it refers to this area that is centered around Glastenbury Mountain in the southwest of Vermont. It is one of the myriad of paranormal polygons. Like the Bermuda Triangle and like the Alaska Triangle, it has a lot of strange stuff that has been reported throughout history. And really, UFOs, Bigfoot, portals, strange disappearances, you name it, it's been associated with it. But it is worth noting that the indigenous people of that area would tell stories and pass down stories about the mountain. And they said that the mountain was capable of opening up and swallowing people whole. So take that information and do with it what you will as we read through the rest of this. So between 1945 and 1950, 5 people went missing in that area under very mysterious circumstances. It was a cluster of people at a very specific time, and it really hasn't happened since. People have obviously gone missing there since, but that was a large focus for one area. So we're just going to talk about those people because I think it is very interesting. I think it's very disturbingly interesting. The first one is Mitty Rivers. So Mitty Rivers, oh, look at me, I'm already screwing this up. Paul, this is for you. Oh, I missed this one. Damn it, guys, I'm sorry. I had all this stuff planned. So Paul, if you're watching this was for you. I did make slides for these, and I totally forgot to use them. Anyway, pause. This is the silver alert for William McCasland, and that story we told earlier. Of course, now it's not going to work. No. Okay, we're doing it manually. And then this is the slide for Monica Riza. So these are both of their missing persons ones. Like, again, these are active cases. So now we are going to get into the slides for this. See, this is why we do this. But I wanted to make it a little bit more interactive and a little bit more interesting, so you're not just staring at my face. So I apologize I forgot about it for the first one. I was just really excited to tell you guys about that story. So, unpause, play. We're back to Mitty Rivers. So Mitty Rivers, a 74-year-old man, he was leading a hunting party in that area. He was a very skilled outdoorsman, and he was very familiar with that area. So in November of 1945, see, I already got myself lost. So it was November 1945. He was leading a hunting party, and around 4 p.m. on the 9th, Mitty was seen by one of the other members of the hunting party, and he was walking on a trail in the opposite direction of them. When he didn't come back, the party panicked, and they alerted the authorities. There was a massive search, but they never found any trace of him. So this one, again, I'm doing very high level. There's a lot more to this one, but it's so interesting to me because the more you read into it, the more you're like, he just wasn't some random guy. He was very experienced and he knew the area so well. I believe it was his son-in-law that was on part of the hunting party, and they were just like baffled. And he was 74 years old. Like, where was he going to go in that short amount of time that they wouldn't have been able to find him? That one is very interesting, and that was the one that started it all. So the next one is, and I won't forget to do it this time, Paula Weldon. Paula is probably the most well-known of this famous five. She was an 18-year-old student at Bennington College on the afternoon of December 1st, 1946. Paula had told her roommate that she was going to go out for a walk. She was wearing a light red jacket and sneakers, but she didn't have anything else on her. So there was no bag or no gear or anything. She left the campus and she hitchhiked to the long trail near Glastenbury Mountain. It's called the Long Trail, I believe. It's not just a long trail. The Long Trail near Glastenbury Mountain. The last two sightings of Paula was from the driver who gave her a ride, and he said he dropped her off at a trailhead on Route 9 that was about 2 miles west of her intended destination. The other sighting was a couple. They said that they had been actually walking behind Paula on the trail, and they weren't too far behind her, and they know, like, when she was in front of them, she had taken a turn, and when it was just about time for them to when they got up there and they rounded the same turn, she was gone. And they remembered her because it was getting dark and it was very cold. It was getting dark and it was getting more cold as it was getting dark, and she was only wearing that little red jacket. So they were worried. One of the other very interesting things about this is the location of her disappearance was 1 mile south of where Mitty Rivers had disappeared. And then despite a massive search, there was no trace of Paula Weldon ever found, which is crazy. But it doesn't end there. There's more. The next one is James Tedford. This is the one that just totally messes with my head. So James Tedford, he is a 68-year-old World War I veteran, and he vanished on December 1st, 1949, 3 years to the day after Paula disappeared. So Tedford had been in St. Albans, I believe that's how you say it, St. Albans, and he was visiting relatives. Once he was done having fun, his family helped him back to the bus station, where they helped him on board a bus back to Vermont, back to the Vermont Soldiers' Home where he lived. So in between St. Albans and Bennington was a stop in Burlington, where he had to transfer buses. So while he was in Burlington and waiting for the next bus, he had a conversation with a friend before he ended up getting on that transfer bus at the depot over to Bennington. When the bus arrived in Bennington, James was nowhere to be found. But all of his stuff was still in his seat, like folded and in his seat, like his suitcase, all the stuff he brought with was all there, but there was no sign of James. So at some point between Burlington and Bennington, James Tedford completely vanished, and he hasn't been seen since. The kind of running thought with this, or what most people say too, is he vanished off the bus. Like, how do you vanish off of a moving bus? And there's a lot of people that say, he had probably vanished at that transfer at the depot. But where did he go? Whether it was on the bus or there, where did he go? It was so crazy. Maybe I'll do a longer version just so I can tell you guys more about it. It was just, I don't know. That one wigs me out. None of them are great, but I don't know. That one definitely wigs me out. The next one is Paul Jepson. So Paul, he was an 8-year-old boy from Shaftesbury, Vermont. Sorry. And on October 12th, 1950, he was helping his mother with some farm chores. So they had gotten in her truck and they drove to Bennington, to an area where they had kept a bunch of, is it a herd? A herd of pigs? A group of pigs? It's where they kept their pigs, a bunch of pigs. And while she was tending to the pigs, she left Paul in the truck, and he was just going to hang out while she did what she needed to do with the animals. When she returned 30 minutes later, Paul was gone. And again, there was a massive search. It involved police, volunteers, helicopters, the Boy Scouts, and even search dogs. So the search dogs were able to actually pick up his scent and track it for a while along a road, but they lost it at a spot where the road intersected with a trailhead. It was just gone. Supposedly, it was the same trailhead where Paula had been dropped off. Pretty crazy. And yeah, there's no other information about him. The last one, God, I keep hitting the table. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can, and it's pissing me off. The last one of the 5 is Frida Langer. So Frida is actually not missing. Her body was found, but the details of the whole thing they don't make sense. Kind of like the rest of it. None of it makes any sense. So Frida Langer, she was a 53-year-old, very skilled hiker and hunter. Again, that's very important. And while she was out on a hike with her husband and her cousin, Frida at some point had tripped and fell into a stream. And all of her clothes were soaked, and she was just irritated and mad because her clothes were soaked. So she told her husband and her cousin that she was going to go back to their camp, and she was going to take a shortcut. She's going to change her clothes, get dry, and then she was going to meet up with them further down the trail. But she never came back. So obviously everybody, the husband and the cousin, were very worried. They alerted authorities, and there was a massive search. It included almost 300 people. There were helicopters, airplanes, you name it, and they were unable to find any trace of Frida. So that was on October 28th, 1950, which was 2 weeks after Paul Jepson had disappeared. 7 months later, on May 12th, 1951, about 3.5 miles south of their camp, a group of fishermen stumbled upon Frida's body. Her body was located on the shore of the Deerfield River and in an area that had been searched previously back in October when she was reported missing. After they found her body, they were unable to determine her cause of death. So those are the famous 5, the 5 people that went missing in the Bennington Triangle. The Bennington Triangle is kind of a pop culture term for the area, and mainly because of these 5 disappearances, but also because of the strange things that are reported in the area as well. Poof. But there are a lot of theories about what happened to these 5 people. And it really ranges from the paranormal causes. It was UFOs or portals, or even a curse. Because remember, the indigenous people of the area, they were kind of scared of the mountain. I mean, they were telling stories that it was swallowing people whole. And there is another set of theories that are actually human causes, like a serial killer. Was there a serial killer that happened to be on the loose in the area for those 5 years? Maybe it was medical conditions, or even human error. You know, no matter how experienced you are, as a hiker or as an outdoors person, everybody makes mistakes. And maybe some of these were people just making the wrong decision. Maybe it was a combination of all of it. Maybe it was a serial killer, medical conditions, human errors, and Bigfoot. Who knows? But all of the theories are kind of on a scale of varying. And some people think that they're all linked together somehow. But officially, these are 5 separate incidences. They've all happened, each have their own plausible explanation, but just happen to share a lot of mysterious coincidences with each other. But I don't know. What do you guys think happened? I do think it is very strange. I know that a lot of stuff that's natural and normal can be, if you don't know all the details, can look very, very, very strange. But I don't know. A lot of this stuff is very strange. And some of the stuff that I've heard over the years, and I'm not going to validate if this is factual or not, but just through the paranormal grapevine and all the stuff that you read and hear on it, is like with Mitty, when they were reporting, when the hunting party was reporting the disappearance, one of them had said, allegedly, that they had heard the sound of like a some kind of a door slamming shut. It's like a loud slamming door in the middle of the woods, which is just nuts. And I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff I've heard. Man, it was really... No, I'm not doing it. I said I wasn't going to get into detail, and I'm not going to get into detail with this. I can't help myself. I just love this stuff so much. Okay, but those are the 5, like the famous 5 disappearances of the Bennington Triangle. I am curious what you guys think happened. I personally don't think that it was natural causes. It's just too... A lot of it's just too much of a... It's too weird. The other thing. With Mitty, that the FBI was called in to help search for him. And the FBI doesn't do search and rescue. Unless it's very specific circumstance. I think like for kids and stuff that they will. But for like an older man who's experienced in the outdoors, doesn't have any medical conditions, doesn't really have like, I mean, they assumed he was alive and they were going to find him. But why was the FBI called? And also like the National Guard was called in for some of these. I don't know. It was really strange. And I think I had watched a documentary one time where the, I don't remember if it was like the fire chief or somebody in the town where Mitty was from was like even questioning, like, why are you here? Why is the military here? Why is the FBI here? Because obviously at that time they thought they were going to find him. But anyway, so thank you so much for watching me ramble on, oh my God, for 30 minutes about this. I thought these were very interesting cases. I do think that the current case of the missing Air Force general is very, very interesting. That is something that I'm going to keep an eye on, and we'll let you guys know if there's any updates. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the show, please give it a like. I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to hear about more particular topics or anything that you're interested in, let me know in the comments. I would be more than happy to. Eventually, I am going to get to what I had planned to do originally, which was weekly lives on Tuesday evenings, where I do go into much more depth on these stories because I do love them. But again, thank you so much. We will see you back here again at noon tomorrow for another disturbingly interesting lunch hour. Thank you.